you ready? Are you ready, Katie?
Right.
Yes. Okay. It is 5 o'clock on Wednesday, February 12th. I call the February board meeting to order. Noting the absence of Ms. Mazurek. Why do I say that every time? I'm so sorry. Mazurek. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Next up is guests. We don't have any guests or recognition, but we do have a public comment from Mr. Pena.
Good evening, everybody. I won't be long. No, it's not very often that I drop my daughter off in the morning, but my wife tells me this is a regular thing. So I drop her off, I go to Casey's, get my coffee. I head southbound on Hodges. There's traffic backed up all the way in Hodges, the car sitting on Route 1. I don't think it's a very good idea, it's quite dangerous with traffic. So I don't know, maybe Wayne or Mr. Nam or Mr. Meyer can contact the PD and keep an eye on that, but for those that are watching at home, I would just recommend maybe go a little further south, hit Penfield instead of Catalpa or Birch to avoid getting rear-ended by a semi or somebody else not paying attention. I don't know. And I did see your response briefly.
Oh.
Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Okay, next up is the approval of the board minutes. So I need a motion to approve the regular board meeting minutes of January 8th, 2025, and the Personnel Finance Committee meeting minutes of January 23rd, 2025, as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Flores?
Yes.
Lichtman?
Yes.
DeChenko?
Yes.
Hanson? Yes. Herman?
Yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, I need a motion to approve the executive session Personnel and Finance Committee meeting minutes of January 23rd, 2025, as submitted.
So moved.
Second. Lichtman? Yes. DeChenko?
Yes.
Hanson? Yes. Herman?
Yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Flores? Yes. Motion carried.
Okay, next up, I need a motion to approve the February 2025 expenses as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Lichtman?
Yes.
DeChenko?
Yes.
Hanson? Yes. Herman?
Yes.
Bell?
Yes.
Flores?
Abstain.
Sorry. Motion carried.
Next up is the treasurer's report.
All right, in my best Mike Peters voice, your account, the SuperNow account at Community Trust and Bank is $4,991,728.01. Outstanding checks as of January 31st is $29,846.36. January payroll carryover is $68,265.08. Leaving the adjusted bank balance at $4,893,616.57. The lunch program balance is $74,216.59. Empress fund is $5,000, leaving us a total of $4,972,833.16. The investments are $5,503,207.65. Balance of all funds as of January 31st is $10,476,040.81. Our January receipts were $743,127.19. The expenses were $1,132,648.17. Your ed fund has a balance of $7,010,966.51. Building fund is $731,980.82. Bond and interest minus $34,190.89. Transportation fund is at $1.285, $472.71. I'm just mixing all kinds of verbiage here. It's fun. IMRF in FICA is $145,136.92. Working cash $361,734.06. Tort fund $402,222.93. Life safety is $572,717.75. The interest the SuperNow is $18,990 $1,000,000.39 with a continued rate of 4.18%. Oh,
Yeah, I was
Mike.
about to say, there's a list.
Come on,
now.
Mike. All right, here we go. State aid, $350,880. Special ed orphanage is $38,365.95. Special ed private facility, $3,608.11. Special ed transportation is $62,533.86. Regular transportation, $89,852.80. Driver's ed reimbursement, $1,638.58. Title I, $18,128. Title II is $5,627. Title IV is $5,096. Title IV academic enrichment is $853. IDEA flow-through is $35,419. The school lunch program is $13,010.07. State free lunch is $97.76. And special milk had a surplus this $12.50. And as you'll see, there are no real estate distributions this month.
You are off by 2 cents. Driver's ed reimbursement, $1,638.56.
What did I
Sorry,
say?
58. But you did a very fine job, thank you.
No, I didn't. Now you're just saying that.
Okay, I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report as presented.
So moved.
Luchenko?
Yes.
Hanson? Yes. Herman?
Yes.
Belt?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes, Flickman.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, next up are the staff reports. Also,
No, sir.
well, here's them all. But I know that we don't have the safe response training until after executive and all that. Do we want to move that up?
I'm going to make him my guest, my guest
Okay.
speaker.
I just wanted to make sure, because I was like, that's a long way away.
Yeah, I'm not gonna ask Dr. Wright to
Okay.
stay for that long.
Okay.
All three of the principals provided you the report. I do have an update to Dr. Quasny's. She's been working with Mrs. Rojas, and they are going to start a, Debbie's gonna start pushing into study halls and start talking about, bullying and kind of the things I'm gonna talk about a little bit later. How to report it, good signs of it, what's kind of the difference between bullying and somebody just being mean at a particular time, and then, ways of making positive interactions and positive engagements with kids. So Debbie's gonna start that within the next week or so. She's also creating a boys group and a girls group to help kind of bridge that gap between, social life and academic life. So Debbie's doing some great things over at the junior high. The high school, this weekend is the Hall of Fame game. As of right now, it's still going on. It's 2 o'clock JV, 3:30 for the varsity. The only issue we might see there is if the snow gets really bad. Prairie Central is coming from a distance. It's quite a hike. And so there's a small possibility that might be rescheduled. And the girls' regional game, which we are hosting, has been moved to Monday. Mr. Du Bois is going to finalize that time, but I've already told him I can't have a 6 o'clock game here Saturday night. And so that's what we got. In terms of my report, you have my report in front of you. In terms of FOIAs, there was 2 commercial FOIAs this month. Both were satisfied. One of the things I did talk about is an action item that is up for you guys a little bit later. That is the safety response training. If you remember a few years ago, 7 years ago, Brad and I kind of spearheaded bringing Beacon in here and kind of overhauling the overall dynamics of school safety and responses. The days of hiding in the corner are not a thing anymore. At least in Beecher they're not. I know in some other areas they are. And so we did that for a couple of years, and we, due to some financial concerns, we kind of went away from the formalized training of that. It's probably been 4 years since we've had a formalized training in terms of a safety response program. Dr. Wright is the former principal of, well, many schools, but he was here at Beecher, he was at Bradley BBCHS, and now he actually works for a group that does this training. And so Dr. Wright and I got engaged in a conversation to have his company come out and do that resistance, that specific training. So Dr. Wright, if there's anything you would like to share regarding your company, please do so, sir.
Appreciate it. Well,
time. I am Brian Wright. It is my honor and privilege to stand before you. And I know one person, Mr. Herman, from 2006 to 2012 when I was privileged to be the principal of Beecher High School. This community has its most precious commodity, and that is the children. And our company, Strategos International, based out of Kansas City, Missouri, focuses on protection, not only of schools, but places of worship and corporate as well. We've trained over 300,000 different people. I had the privilege of attending where you saw the fires in California about a month ago. Around Thanksgiving, we were out there and we trained 1,300 teachers in one day. So we're large enough to do a large group in a short amount of time, but small enough to do individual schools and to give them that individual attention as well. We take a very non-linear, easy approach to training. As Dr. Gayam talked about, it's a 3-out model where we are looking to be proactive. We know that seconds matter in any type of situation of harm. Every second, if we can steal a second, we can do something with that second. Because we know that when seconds matter, our law enforcement friends are only minutes away. I'll say that again, when seconds matter, our law enforcement, who do a great job, they're here and on site in 5 to 7 minutes. What we do with those times, that 5 to 7 minutes, makes a world of difference in the survivability and the prevailing of our children and our staff members in that situation. We hope that it's the best training that we never have to institute, right? Because it's the worst day of our life. But being proactive is the most important part of all this, and unfortunately, we have to go through this. Our staff members have never taken a course on self-defense in school situations. But unfortunately, we can't bypass it anymore because our parents send their children to our school systems wanting to have them returned, if not the same shape they came in, or better when they return. And so it's the school district's responsibility to make sure that happens in a lot of different avenues, and unfortunately, this is one that we have to address these days. So if you have any question whatsoever, I will be glad to answer those questions. I came just to see what Beecher is in 2025, not to speak, but I'm glad that Dr. Gayam gave me the opportunity to address you tonight.
The training is, it's a full day training. The first half of the training is it's a K-12 staff. We'll do it in the old gym, and then we'll break it off from there, and we'll do 2 hours of training for the junior high school specific, and have them in their rooms in the building they're in. And then after lunch, we'll come back and we'll do the elementary specific. So they'll be on site with the teacher. So instead of hey, we're in the high school, but my elementary classroom is a little bit different, they're going to be actually engaged in the classroom where they're going to be teaching.
How many trainers are there, and will there be, and what are their backgrounds?
Let me go backwards. Trainers are former educators. There are many of them, about half of them are law enforcement, either retired or current law enforcement. And we're proud to say that we have 4 retired Secret Service agents. So we're very adept to what is the best practices when it comes to protection. We have a 1 to 50 ratio of trainers to staff members. Typically, this is a 4-hour program where we work in a 2-hour presentation and then go crazy with all the different places. But that has more instructors to it to make it more comfortable for each staff in their own building. Dr. Gayam and I worked out where we can do it all day long, so we can do this in 2 instructors, 2 to 3 instructors. So it all depends on the mother company telling me I will present all this information if it's so approved. Then we will sit down, and the price doesn't change regardless. If my instructors tell me, my bosses tell me we need 10 instructors, the price doesn't change. It is what it is. But typically, it's 30 to 50 people. Because when you take them into classrooms, we can't put 30 to 50 people in a classroom. 30 is about the max we can do that. And so by spreading it out, we can actually get to the smaller numbers.
Will the police department be here too and to help, to see what you guys are doing? Is that part of it at all?
It is not part of it, however, we encourage the police department to be, so they understand what we're teaching and what the new strategies are. And when I say law enforcement is involved as far as some of our instructors, there's a certain way that we like to instruct. And so all of our trainers are vetted very carefully as far as what type of instruction are we going to give. We're not telling stories, we're not scaring people. Each district has the opportunity to say, we have an airsoft gun that just shoots carbon dioxide gas, has an orange tip to it. It's inert, but some districts say, hey, we don't want that based on our community. Maybe something has happened where they're still frightened a little bit. When we went to California, they had their own rules based on their community. So, but they're always invited to come, and we encourage that so that when they're responding, they know what they're walking into, as opposed to if it's a different strategy that was used before. Absolutely.
So you tailor each strategy to specific to the school and their wants and needs? Or like what is the company's strategy for, our staff and teachers?
Okay, so there's 3 outs. There's lockout, take out, and get out. Very simple, and it's all based on where the threat is in relation to where we are as people. So the most simplest thing we can do is shut and lock doors all the time, because that saves seconds. We can borrow that. The time it takes me to go over and lock the door and shut the door, that may take 3 to 5 seconds based on where I'm in the room. That I can borrow then and use someplace else. And we teach how to layer and lock, because that lock is only as good as it is until it's broken or malfunctions. And so we don't trust just that. We start to break down that, where we lock, layer, and reinforce everything that we do. The last thing we do with our middle school and high school students is we have them, if they feel comfortable, and this is a conversation I would have with Dr. Gaham, is we have improvised weapons. We don't want to cower in the corner, because that makes us just lambs to the slaughter. We want to get scissors, pencils, pens, something. If something was going to, fire extinguisher, a book, a Chromebook, if you had a choice, my guess is the majority of people are going to fight for their life as opposed to lay down for their life. And so we give suggestions to our staff. We don't work with students. We just work with our staff, and then from there, then it becomes a local decision as far as how much they want to integrate that into the daily operations of their safety plan.
And so when we do active shooter drills, which is by law we have to do, we do more than the state requires, but that is the process that we train them. Instead of all right, somebody's in the building, hide, Mr. Meyer, somebody will be on the intercom, we have a potential intruder by the main office. So the teachers themselves are having conversations with kids, hey, are we if they're over there, how are we going to assess the situation? How are we going to get outside the building? If they're close, all right, we're going to lock down. What are we going to use to barricade in front of these doors? What at the upper levels? Hey guys, what are some of the things that we have around here that could be used to help defend ourselves? So that's kind of the training that we started 7 years ago, and that we want to. Now we've had a lot. I shouldn't say a lot, but we've had some staff turnover. It's good to A, refresh those who got that initial training, but B, show the newbies, hey, this is what we do here in Beecher. We make choices.
And you have a lot of. This is a large space. If somebody walked through that door, what are we doing right now? In your cafeterias, in our gymnasiums, in your outside classrooms. So we talk about large spaces versus small spaces, in doors that open out versus doors that open in, different strategies, different techniques. And every school is different. We can go here and that's why we don't necessarily want elementary teachers being trained at this school, because this is not where they work. They want, what about my room? What about my place? And it's amazing what we do is everybody wants us, let's go through and let's see and analyze what your space looks like. And really our most vulnerable are ladies or gentlemen up front, and the ones that right inside the door. Because it's all glass, and what are we doing with those?
Anything else? Yeah, thank you, Doctor. I appreciate it.
Thank you, welcome. Thank you.
Is that all good on all staff reports?
Yeah.
Okay, next item are bullying reporting and procedure process that we currently have in the district.
So the plan was I was going to have 3 principals here, and they were each going to explain a dynamic of it. It was going to be a really cool presentation, engaging, and then snow hit. So instead, you get me. Sorry. All right. So what I'm going to do is kind of take you through the three steps. The first one being the reporting of it, and then kind of the investigation portion of it, and then lastly, what do we do as part of the aftermath, if you will. So the most important thing, and I can't stress this enough, is you got to tell somebody that something is happening. That I can't stress that enough. The number of times in my education career, something happens, and then when you start the investigation process, it was, well, this has been happening for 6 months. This has been happening for 6 years. Well, did you let the school know? Well, no. Or this happens outside of school all the time. Does the school know? No. So the most important thing that we have to stress to our kids and to our community is you got to let us know if there's a concern, if there's something going on. There's the online reporting form. So everybody at anywhere can access it. You go to the main page. If your kid's in high school, you go to the high school page. You just hover over it. It says bullying and harassment form. If you hover over the junior high, it's right there as well. If you're in the elementary, it's there as well. So anybody can do it. It can be anonymous if you want. We do not ask for the information. We do ask, if you want to provide your name or your email, obviously it's more beneficial because then we can talk to you, find out what's going on. But if you want to do an anonymous report, it comes directly to the superintendent, the social worker, the dean, the principal, and the SRO. So all of them get that exact same form, and so it's all reported. That form asks for who's the victim, when did it happen, where did it happen, what type of bullying or harassment was it racially motivated, could you please describe the situation, did you tell anybody about it, if you did, who did you tell, and then would you like to see a counselor as a result of this situation. So that's the reporting form. So once that comes in, or you could do the old school way, hey, Ms. Flores, I just want to let you know this happened in PE class. I just want to let you know that happened. Could you tell Mr. Ogden, or hey, Mr. Meyer, this happened. Could you help me out? There's the old school way of just telling an adult. You can tell teachers, you can tell adults, you can tell the superintendent, you can tell Katie Gersh if you walk into the district office. Just tell somebody. That is the important thing. So once we get that information, we had one filled out yesterday, as a matter of fact, at the high school. Once that information comes in, we all get the same email, and then I go and I talk to Mike, I talk to Bob, and say, hey, did you guys get this? And 9 times out of 10 is, yep, already on it. That one time is, no, I haven't been back to my computer yet, I was doing hallway duty. So once that information comes in, they gather who reported it, and they'll reach out to that student to have them come down and have a conversation with them to get more information on it. As they get witnesses, that's one of the other options, I'm sorry, in the reporting form, who also witnessed this. They'll pull the witnesses down, they'll get the story, find out what actually happened, have those conversations, and then probably pull down both the perpetrator and the victim. And so if something is found to be harassment, then there's consequences that is provided to that student who does the harassment. Now, the magic word that is not the correct word to use is the bullying. Bullying is something that happens more than once. And that's something that's really important to know. If Katie walks in tomorrow and calls me a mean name, she's not bullying me. If Katie walks in and calls me a mean name and I tell Larry, and Larry says, all right, we'll take care of it, and then tomorrow Katie comes in and says something mean and I let Larry know, now we're starting to see a pattern. Now there's a repetitive nature to this. Now she is bullying me. But her coming in the day one, or if Dr. Wright smacked me on the playground, that's not bullying. It's going to be investigated. It's going to be reprimanded. It's going to be disciplined. But be careful when we start slapping the word bullying on it, because that's not bullying, okay? Once we have the consequences doled out, there's a lot of different things, but normally that is when our social workers will get engaged. The victim normally is pulled, I use the word victim, you guys know what I mean. The victim's normally pulled into probably counseling for a couple days just to make sure, have an informal check-in if that's what they are looking for. I know Mr. Meyer and I know Dr. Kwasny, one in particular, their informal check-in is they see the kid down the wall, they do this, kid gives them a thumbs up, that's all it is. Kid might even just kind of give them a smile and a nod just to acknowledge, hey, today's a good day, not bothering me anymore, we can continue moving on. If something happens outside of the school day, obviously we can monitor and help you out when you're here at school, but that's probably when we'll engage the SRO and the police department. Because if something's happening outside of the school, it becomes more difficult for us to discipline, basically. So that's kind of the process. So once it's reported, it goes to whatever building you report it to. By the way, if you report on the elementary and it's a high school student, we'll make sure it gets to the high school. I promise you it will. Report it. Once it's reported, it's investigated. Once it's investigated, there's then a process that we follow through. Sometimes kids move classes, sometimes it's stay away from each other, sometimes it's suspensions. So, and every school is just a little bit different because of the age level of each group, but that's the process that we go through.
I have a question, if I might. Are parents kept in the loop the entire process?
So when something is reported, the dean or Mr. Meyer or Ms. Black, they will let them know, hey, if it's normally with the form, if it's off school hours, it's normally a parent who actually reports it for us. But yes, during that process, the parent is informed, hey, just want to let you know, your kid said this to us, your kid, we had to pull them in, this is kind of what we're looking into, and then afterwards, we do provide that information, hey, your student's going to see the counselor for a couple days, just make sure everything's all right. The important thing to know, and this is one thing that people don't like, and I apologize, you will not and you never will find out the discipline of another child. That is illegal. That is 100% illegal. So if Mrs. Diachenko's son gets disciplined, I'm not going to go tell Ms. Flickling exactly what he got. You can deduce things by walking around and seeing what happens or what does absences at school, but so people who say I demand to know, I am not losing my job. So. Questions about the process?
And parents can, if there's a situation that they're finding at their home life or outside of school, they can always alert the school and let them know, hey, can you watch out for this as well?
Absolutely.
Like, if this is going on at home, you guys don't know what happens to kids outside of.
1,000%, 1,000%. And we, at the high school, we kind of we're the one that was reported and mentioned, the teachers are, that's flashing at me, the teachers are informed, hey, they're in this grade level, I'm not gonna tell you what grade, but they're in this grade, that's the lockers by your class and your class and your class. You may not have the kid in class, but this is the kids. When you see them, watch the interaction to see how it is. We don't need a positive interaction, folks. A neutral or a zero interaction is just as good. I just don't need, a negative interaction. I think my computer's gonna explode. Joe? Oh, never mind, I got it.
Okay, good?
It's up to you if you're
All right.
good.
Next is committee updates. Do you want to start?
Oh,
Because
yeah,
you have
I-
something coming up very soon.
Yep, on Saturday is the Beecher Education Foundation dinner. Hopefully the snow won't be too bad Saturday night, so we can drive there. But looking forward to that and a new location, so.
And are they still taking tickets or no?
I don't believe so.
I know they extended it,
They
but I wasn't sure what the
extended it,
extended
right, they
date was.
extended it like through, I believe the original date was through the
31st,
31st.
and then you went in.
And then they extended it into the following week, but
Yeah, I wouldn't have
I
said they
mean,
still, you
yeah.
gotta know, yeah, head count. CARS does not meet until February, because they only meet about every couple months. But I know their board did finally approve aviation. Even though they've been talking about doing it, it's actually approved and happening for sure. So that was kind of the big thing that just happened, Nothing else? I know you have meetings in between my meetings.
Mr. Kelly and Mr. Green are actually in Washington D.C. this week talking to senators about the program. That's how impressive it is. So we're very excited.
Chamber have anything?
No, I haven't heard anything. I think their meeting is next week.
I did their Christmas tree. Isn't that the chamber Christmas tree? Or village?
Chamber.
Yeah, okay.
Chamber did it.
Okay, that's their big thing.
That's their big thing for the,
Yeah. Winter.
for the winter.
Okay.
They're all gone now.
And actually, the scholarship committee is actually doing stuff now, huh?
We've been doing
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, no, I mean meeting. Like now it's towards the end of the year.
Oh,
You know,
yes.
the first couple months, like, oh, we can't do anything. We're not
Yes.
taking no application.
Yeah, no, everything is out, so scholarships are out, so just to remind, the students to apply, and that we do have 3 scholarships, one for a 4-year university, for a 2-year college, junior college, and then one for, a trade school, so vocational. So there are 3 scholarships to apply for, so please make sure you apply for them, for sure. Yeah, that's all.
And I wanna, correct me if I'm wrong, SARSNY make sure those are added on the school links to them for
Yes.
also. So
Yeah.
all the scholarships are all on school links, and I know the kids have access, and he's working on some stuff for the parents to get more involved in the school links, this coming year, as far as schedule and
Well,
being
and
able to check.
he's also emailing, sending out information to parents from, not
For the
just from the
seniors.
Scholarship Foundation, but for other scholarships, because there are other individual scholarships that are sent out. So
Yes.
Mr. Sarsby does a very good job.
And then ours is due, March 28th for this.
Okay.
I think we're meeting on Sunday and ramping up the basketball season with the junior high doing concessions, because the high school is pretty much done now with home games. So we'll plan for spring activities and see if the new scoreboard is being used all season.
Yeah.
Got them in just at the end last year, which was great. So hopefully next meeting we'll have some more for what we're doing in the spring, but it's been great. And I have to say, all of the beacher athletes that come through, like the girls and boys volleyball and basketball, they've all just been really, really polite, great kids, like when they come to the concession stand. So to commend the parents and coaches, it was some really nice young kids at the junior high.
And I know a lot of the kids are liking the opportunities for
Community service?
community service.
Yes.
Even helping with that and stuff like that.
Oh, we
That's
still have-
getting more. Yeah, there's always more,
We got
but
5 games
it's
left,
a lot
so-
easier, and they like to do that kind of stuff. I feel like they like to go to the games and do that, so it's kind of an
Yeah.
easier way for them to get their hours.
We have 5 games left, you can get 3 hours per game. So email the Booster Club, we will take your help.
And I know we talked about it before, but just that scoring table is awesome.
Oh, the high school?
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, they put all the kids, the senior kids' baby pictures up there. So and shout out to whoever's manning that and doing all that work. That is noticed as well, because it does take work, I'm sure, to go in there and put all that in and program. So shout out to whoever's doing that.
We love it, all the updates and all the games and backing during Chuck and Talk or the noises and the commercials, it's been really cute.
Yeah.
It was great, they really have done a great job with all of that board.
I don't have any updates. They actually, because of the snow today, the PTO moved their meeting up to Monday and I wasn't able to make it, so, as far as I know, there wasn't any updates.
And then the youth commission had their daddy-daughter dance recently. I don't know when the mother-son dance is, because I have older kids.
I wanna say it's like March 22nd.
Okay. I mean, I know it's usually a month or 2 later,
Yeah.
so that makes sense. So I know that's their next thing coming up. So I
Everybody
can
use
share that.
go to the Facebook page and I'm sure they'll
Oh,
have information.
yeah, true. Okay, so done with community events. So we're next up for old business would be executive session. So I need a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of 5 ILCS 120-2 C1, 5 ILCS 120-2 C9, and 5 ILSC 122 C10.
So moved.
Second.
Hanson.
Yes.
Herman.
Yes.
Belt.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Flickling.
Yes.
DeChenko.
Yes.
Motion carried.
I don't
Wrong.
think I need to hear you. Ready? Okay, so it is 5:58 PM on February 12th. The general board meeting is back in session. we are on to new business. Are there any employment items that need to be handled individually for anyone? No? Okay. So I need a motion to acknowledge the resignation of Jessica Hernandez as high school administrative assistant and Ann Jacob as full-time bus driver.
So moved.
Second.
Herman.
Yes.
Felt.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Flickling.
Yes.
Diachenko.
Yes.
Hanson. Yes. Motion carried.
Next up, I need a motion to approve the appointment of Jada Schroeder as high school varsity volleyball coach, Crystal Von Alvin as a full-time early childhood teacher, the contract for Brandon DuBois as full-time athletic director, and the appointment of Sophia West and Ryan Rosenbrock as full-time special education teachers for the 25-26 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Felt.
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
Flickling.
Yes.
Diachenko.
Yes.
Hanson. Yes. Herman.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, I need a motion to approve the non-renewal of the one-year contract for Melissa Prosernia as fifth grade teacher.
So moved.
Second. Flores.
Yes.
Flickling.
Yes.
Diachenko.
Yes.
Hanson. Yes. Herman.
Yes.
Felt.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Just for clarification, that is the one-year contract you offered last year in June for that extra fifth grade class. So this is just a formalization that you appreciate you did a nice job this year and that you were not going to have another fifth grade class next year. So that's just a formalization of it.
Next up are the buses. So we need a new bus for the early childhood program because we're adding another one when it moves to Zion. And then the activity bus is broke down and she was able to find, because I know when we talked to personnel and finance, she was gonna look and see if we could find one, and apparently she did.
Yes. So the first one we talked about finance /
Personal.
personnel, and so that's the 115. And then the second one, if you remember that meeting I talked to you guys, I said you could order one. It was 100 and, what did I tell you, 120, 125? It was an 18-month lead. And then she also reached out to Central States because they have more of a lease system with other schools and they get them back. There was 3 that were on site with Midwest, not Central States. Central States is your 115. And then I provided all 3 of those buses to you.
And does this include the painting and everything of it too?
No, we would do the stickers. It's already white, but we
Okay,
would have
okay.
to, we would have to get.
I remember the last
stickers
one we had to paint, so that's why I wasn't
Yep.
sure.
Nope.
Okay.
And I don't think that we can do that anymore with the models we have. The old, you could just paint the yellow bus
Yeah.
white. It worked with the model we had,
Yeah.
but
Not
they've
anymore,
since
okay.
closed that loophole.
Okay, any questions or anything?
What are we, with the old activity bus, I know that we talked about selling some of the bigger buses, but what are we doing with the activity bus? Are we trying to
It's,
sell?
yeah, it's the same thing. The reason that will not pass safety because of the rear heater issue. I know we could say just drive it in the spring when you don't need heat, but the state still requires you to have that system working. So yeah, we'll probably end up
I just don't
selling.
drive in the winter.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Sorry, kids, you can't
We
do
don't
things
go down.
in the winter.
You do need them certified to be on the road, so, yes, we would probably sell that.
Okay.
Worst case, we would scrap it, but for the most part, we've been very successful selling those.
And we probably got more life out of it than we probably thought we were.
Oh,
I mean, if you
seeing
think
those-
about it, because we had already ran it, and the wheels come off, and then we painted it, and we ran it some more.
Yeah.
And are we paying essentially cash for these, or do we have to finance them?
Oh,
No,
no, it's gonna
because
come out of your.
We have enough in the transportation budget,
Yeah.
more than enough. We've
Yeah.
got quite a bit in there.
That is something I mentioned in the finance meeting. It's one, I think I read it's $1.2 million. So you have money in the reserves. It will put you over budget this year in terms of transportation department, but I'll just have Katie do an amended budget. She loves those and we're gonna be fine.
She's an expert at those.
We,
deals.
we had ended up, we're on a cycle for buses, and we had ended up skipping a cycle. So we got a little bit of extra in there for this, because we didn't really need them at that time.
Okay.
But we're gonna be using it now.
Do we have to pick from one of the 3, or
So,
is she gonna just, whoever?
what I would do is, your motion, I would say no more than that dollar
Okay.
amount, and then what I'll do is I'll send her and Ryan up
Yeah.
to review the 3 of them. I mean, the 2 lowest mileage are the 20, is it,
2019.
2019s? They would probably pick between the two of them, but maybe the third one's in better shape. So I would send Ryan up there, so you just provide me a cap.
So not
Can I
to
just say
exceed.
no
Not to
more
exceed.
than 70,000, so I don't have to say the little numbers? Okay, so I'm doing, done. Okay, so first up, I need a motion to approve the purchase of a new mid-size bus from Central States for $115,000 to accommodate the early childhood program growth as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Flickman?
Yes.
DeChenko?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Belt?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next up, I need a motion to approve the purchase of a bus from Midwest Transit for no more than $70,000 to replace the existing unrepairable activity bus as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Flickman?
Yes.
DeChenko? Yes. Hanson?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Belt?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, so next up is Action Plumbing for bathroom repairs. Do the pipes need done again, or?
So this isn't the piping. If you remember, I think 3 years ago, we had the pipes relined and we replaced a large section of it. This is to finish off the last section of piping that hasn't been done, and it is 14 new toilets as well.
Oh, okay.
One of the problems we're having is why we're constantly having to come out and get rotted is because they're older toilets, so they're not being providing enough pressure to send the
Waste.
goods down with the energy of which it seeks. And so this would all take place over the summer. This is the only kind of summer project we're doing. We're
And
probably
all
gonna have to replace these
The
here.
piping will handle that, because the last little bit will be replaced, right? Because I would
Yep.
hate to replace these and then we blow out piping, I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I get it. So,
Because I know we had relined and that was a big thing a couple years ago, but it wasn't all of it.
right, we relined what we had to, but most of the other things are accessible through the crawl space.
Okay, okay. That's what I want to make sure. I don't want to get all this new stuff and then we ruin the other stuff. Okay. Need a motion to approve the Action Plumbing estimate for $14,500 for bathroom repairs at the elementary school as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
DeChenko?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Belt?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Flickman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And I did say it was over, this is this summer project.
Summer,
I said
yes.
that, okay,
Yes.
sorry.
Okay, next up is, is it Strategos? Strategos. I didn't even ask that
She
earlier.
doesn't pronounce
I'm an elementary teacher. I look at phonics. I'm sorry. It doesn't make sense.
It's like strategy, but strategos.
Strategos. I will mess it up, but I'm gonna try not to. I need a motion to approve the Strategos Active Shooter Safety Response Training for $10,125 as submitted.
So moved.
Second. Hanson?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Belt?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Flickman?
Yes.
DeChenko?
Yes.
Motion carried.
This will occur one of the 2 first institute days of next year. It's not,
Okay.
probably should have said that before you, but we don't have any more
I
institute days the rest of
assume.
the
I
year.
mean, you have to plan that a year out.
No, I take it back. The institute day this year, we're doing CPR training. So, should have put that in my board report. That would have been an excellent addition. It's the Brian talk the whole time.
When will, so next is the lights for the high school drive. Is that a summer?
No, that is, he was actually gonna try to get it done this week, to trench it all, but with the snow, he's not sure he's gonna be able to get
The
it done
ground's
this
not
week.
frozen?
It-
No?
No,
Just a
it-
little.
It just
it's
was
a
a
little
little,
bit, so enough that he could have trenched it. So,
Okay.
if you remember, originally it was like 18.5 is what you guys approved for the small maintenance grant. You formally approved the maintenance grant, not actually the sub work within that grant. This is the actual cost of the 3 poles. They are going to be on 4-foot cylinder concrete, so it's gonna be actually 17 feet up in the air with 3 lights per pole. And they're going to be down into this drive.
You'll be able to finally see and
Yeah. So-
run over people.
But
That's I figured.
is that the part that we have to pay that's not covered by the grant, or that's just
No,
what it
this
is?
is gonna be covered by.
Okay, I was just making sure.
Yep.
Okay.
This is just formalizing what you guys said to the state you were going to do.
Because we're doing the light poles and the doors, correct? With the grant?
Yes, and, yes.
Okay. So I need a motion to approve the M3 electric estimate for $17,142 to install additional lights in the high school drive as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Herman?
Yes.
Belt?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Flickman?
Yes.
DeChenko?
Yes.
Hanson? Yes. Motion carried.
Okay, next up, I need a motion to uphold the superintendent's decision based on the evidence and information discussed in executive session.
So moved.
Second. Belt?
Yes.
Flores?
Yes.
Flickman?
Yes.
DeChenko?
Yes.
Hanson?
Yes.
Herman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, next up is other discussion items. The only thing I have is for our next board meeting, we will have executive session, the superintendent contract evaluation. I got all, but I'm still waiting for one board member. I'll put all those together and have everything, and then we'll discuss it all together, and then I will, we'll talk about what we want to present, and then I'll have to have the meeting with Dr. Gaham to tell him what our evaluation is. And then after that, part of the process is when we get the new board, so that'll be March, probably April and May, we'll discuss new goals and all that with the new board. Is this evaluation tool still what we want to use, and how does it align and everything? So that's what we'll be doing through into the summer. So we will have that. Do we have to have any, do we have any upcoming meetings, we need policy?
Ms. Mazurek will, I'll reach out to her, she obviously is not here. We will have a Press Plus 117. I did share with you guys the updates there, and I gave you the Cliff Notes front page, and then obviously I gave you all 70, 80 pages of it. So I'll have Mrs. Mazurek come up with the day. Who's my, Randy? Okay, so I'll make sure that I reach out to you as well. I do want to kind of, another discussion item, it's big in the news, but in terms of education at this time, there's not a lot we can do about it until we know where it goes, and that's the Department of Ed in terms of at the federal level. There's still not someone assigned to the Department of Ed, so before we start jumping on things and worry about shutting things down, there's still a process that has to go in place. Even with an executive order, we won't truly know what it is or what the ramifications are until we hear about budgeting. As a school district, here is our major concern, is the federal funds that we receive, the title, the IDEA grants. If what we have been told is true and they're just shifting it to the state, as long as that funding stays, as a school district, you don't have a lot of concerns. I don't want to get into the minutia of the bureaucracy and all that kind of stuff of the Department of Ed. As it stands right now, until we formally hear that they are cutting funding or they're removing funding or something along those lines at the federal level, there's not a whole lot for us to do or worry about. And so I kind of want to put it out there for both you guys and people watching. If something happens, obviously I'll find out about it. I'll give you guys the information. It's really going to, if you want my opinion of it, you're not going to know too much about it until the federal government passes a budget and you find out what they're doing with that money. If they truly are sending it to the states, and then the states are probably just going to use the EBF allocation funds. That's how they'll probably do it, be my guess. If that money is removed in the federal budget, then we have to have some conversations. And then again, that's your title grants, your IDEA grants that we get from the federal levels. Okay?
And then next board meeting, we will have a presentation from Dawn Compton for special education. And that's it.
And she'll be able to tell you how the first 2 weeks at Peace, believe it or not.
Oh, yes, because they'll be already there.
Go put some cameras up for us.
All right, so I need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned.